So I welcome you back to the second session today. And we are very fortunate with us to have with us CA Ketan Vajani. He'll be dealing on the topic Vivad se Vishwas, the scheme which has been launched. And विवाद तो होता ही रहता है, लेकिन विश्वास से विवाद खत्म हो जाती है और आपकी सोच से ही विश्वास का जन्म होता है और आपकी सोच से ही विश्वास का खत्म भी होता है. So it's all about your thoughts, your mentality, how you deal with things. And now to give a formal introduction to the speaker, I call upon a fast convener, CAC Momentum.
Thank you, Vijeta, for giving me the opportunity to introduce CA Ketan Vajani. His area of practice, consultancy, tax advisory, litigation in direct taxes. He regularly appearing before ITAT, DRB, CIT appeal, CIT in direct tax matters. He passed CA final in November 1994 with 50th rank. Presently, he is chairman of Law and Representation Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultants, member of Taxation Audit Quality Review Group formed by ICAI. He was president of Chamber of Tax Consultants for 2021-22. He was office bearer of Chamber of Tax Consultants for 2017-18 to 2020-21. He was chairman of Direct Tax Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultants for 2014-15 to 16-17. He regularly writes articles in Direct Tax in Chambers Journal. He is a contributor to legal newspaper, legal updates in newsletter of WRC since 3 years. Contributed article in newspaper Vapar, ITAT, online ORG, etc. Contributor to the WRC publication on budget for 2019, 22 and 23. He is a faculty and a paper writer at RRC of Chamber of Tax Consultants in March 23. Faculty at various seminars organized by WRC, Chamber of Tax Consultants, BCA, and other professional organizations, also trade associations on various topics of direct taxes. With this brief introduction, I welcome CA Ketan Vajani. I invite CA KL Parmaji to give a small memento and good morning all. Conveners of the study circle, Vijeta Madam, Mr. Kailash Ji, other seniors of JB Nagar Study Circle, one of the best study circles of the city, as I say. And also I see some of my good old-time friends. Mutaji is here, my very old friend. I mean, probably we have already celebrated our silver jubilee of our friendship, in fact. And of course, so many friends of JB Nagar Study Circle. I have been coming to the study circle on and off. Maybe, in pre-COVID era, I think I came
more often, but post-COVID, of course, due to the technology and all, probably the interaction in physical mode has come down to a considerable extent in all of our life. And therefore, probably I think even post-COVID, I think I am here for second or third time, I don't remember. But every time I come here, I feel that this study circle is a group of enthusiast professionals, the professionals who are keen to contribute. And whenever I go from here, my CP are not earned just because I'm a speaker. I also gain some education. And therefore, in a real sense, it is continuing professional education for me. Because some of the very, very senior people are participating here. And some of the issues which they bring to the table are probably not foreseen by me also. And therefore, I certainly learn many things from all of you. Today is also not an exception. I really wish to learn something when I go back from here. I wish to carry some good memories from all of you and learn some new points which probably, would then make me scratch my head and come to some different conclusion than what it is today. With that idea in mind, friends, when Vijayata madam requested me, and of course, Ms. Pinky, I don't know whether I should be mentioning about her because election protocols, but anyway, she also insisted that I should be coming here. And therefore, when they insisted me that I should come on this topic, Vivad se Vishwas, I was not having any double mind and immediately said yes. Friends, this scheme, Vivad se Vishwas scheme, and madam was mentioning, Vijayata madam was mentioning, Vivad is there forever. In fact, Vivad is something is relating back, it dates back probably to the birth of mankind, if you remember, human culture, human civilization. Right from the day when human civilization was there, Vivad is always there. We are Indian culture. In our Indian culture, we have seen the great war of Mahabharata. And just yesterday, we got the result in Maharashtra Assembly. Right from those days till today, if you see, Vivad always erupts. It is there. And at some point of time, the person fights, whether fights for good, fights for bad, worth, not worth, is for one to decide. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it gets settled in the form of Vishwas. Somewhat similar is this scheme, Vivad se Vishwas. Here, what we are proposing, what we are going to discuss is a scheme given by the Honorable Finance Minister on 23rd of July when she presented the budget, Finance number 2 bill of 2024. The purpose is laudable. The purpose is certainly a great purpose. The purpose is to reduce litigation. The purpose is to come to better way of functioning of the department, easier way of revenue collection. In the process, the taxpayer also gains in as much as he gets a peaceful sleep at the night. The question, of course, remains now is that, whether this purpose is getting achieved in the circumstances in which we live, whether this Vivad se Vishwas scheme 2024 is the last such scheme which we are going to have, or we'll have continuous Vivad even after this. This is the question. And when we see the history, probably, the feeling is slightly getting affected, because when we see the history of litigation in India, and before that, I also ask a question to myself as to where from the Vivad is generated, right? We are talking about Vivad se Vishwas. Where from the Vivad is generated? All of us have seen post 21. We had one Vivad se Vishwas scheme in 2020. I think all of you will recall. That time it was a separate enactment, Vivad se Vishwas Act 2020. Now, when you see that was in 2020, come down to 21, March 21, the Finance Bill 21 comes in March 21, and the entire scheme of reassessment is changed. We have got completely new set of provisions from 147 to 151, where the entire scheme is different than what we were knowing earlier. Now, this scheme was a good scheme, but look at the way in which it was administered. In between, there was a COVID, there was some TOLA, all these things were there, appreciate it. But look at the way in which the scheme is getting implemented. The new revised scheme of reassessment is implemented today. Left, right, and center, all of you might have experienced in your real life that today there are more number of reassessments than assessments. Most of the time, it is reassessment. All assessments are mostly now 143 read with 147. This is the situation. We have got faceless. So this was one part of it. Faceless assessment regime. Now, to my mind, and with due respect to the authorities, faceless is becoming headless. It's becoming brainless. Also, we have got faceless appeals. You suffer here, you go to appeal, there also it is faceless. You seek video conferencing. In the video conferencing, you only speak, the other person does not even care. At times, you don't know whether he is listening also or not. At the end of the day, after 35 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever is your method, when you end your talk, he will ask you one simple question: do you want to submit anything else? This is the experience. And you will say, sir, I have already given whatever I wanted to give in writing. If you have any question, I'll be pleased to answer. He will say, no, we are signing off. Bye-bye. The order comes sometimes, if you're lucky, within a month. And it depends on the gravity of your luck. Sometimes after a year, sometimes doesn't come at all. And in between this type of situation, also let me also mention it, this is very relevant because all of us are today facing this. Demonetization and post-demonetization amendments, 68 to 69D, they were always there, of course, but 115BEE, which has come. You enhance the rate from 30% to 60%. Why? Because you feel as a government that somebody would misuse the scheme, deposit the money and run away with 30%. That is not your purpose. Accepted, fairly accepted. But now demonetization is over. Everything is over. Your rate is at 60%, which was done in 115BEE at that time. From Chambers side, whenever we made representation, since last 3 years, at least we have been requesting them that, sir, now there is no case for having this 60%. It was 30% initially, bring it down to 30%. Let us please appreciate that there cannot be tax more than maximum marginal rate. That time there was a special circumstance. Now the circumstances have gone. What makes you stick at 60% and then add surcharge, add cess, it goes up to 78% and then penalty goes to 84%. That is fine. 84% for a person who is doing wrong, I would not mind at all. We are not at all canvassing. None of the professionals sitting here would canvass a wrong person being held. We don't mind at all. The difficulty comes when your normal business income, you have offered it as a business income in your return of income. The officer says you have deposited cash in your bank. Explain the source, you give your source, and despite of all these things, the officer takes you under 68. Section 68. This section 68 to 69D has become so popular among the revenue officers. They try to just find out the way in which you can go, whether, I mean, can I fit this person into 68 to 69D? That is the purpose with which they start their assessment. Now understand the plight of a person. He has already offered the income. Now that income will be removed from his business income. And if you are not having that much luck, it will be still continued as business income plus additional section 68. And 84% on that, where do you end up? There generates the Vivad. Vivad is getting generated most of the time at the instance of the revenue, let me say that. And all of you are professionals, all of you are practicing as professionals. You must have experienced this. When I'm saying this, you must be relating it with various of your clients, right? There generates the Vivad. And then you say, okay, now 3 or 4 years are done. Let me come out with a scheme, Vivad Vishwas. In the scheme also, we will see when we travel down the slides, these slides which I have prepared. We see at some of the places that the purpose of evading or eradicating Vivad is still not getting completed. The manner in which the half-hearted attempts are made. At one stroke, you are saying you want to settle the thing. But in principle, it's a settlement scheme. In settlement, friends, it is always that a person gives something, takes something. That is called settlement. But when we see here, at many of the places, you feel that no, they are still continuing with their age-old mindset of not giving it with the complete heart. If you don't want to give a scheme, don't give a scheme. We are not forcing you to give a scheme. If you give a scheme, make it workable. There are many places where I will mention that, and of course, you all will be able to relate with that. So with that, friends, let us look at the scheme. Before that, of course, let us go down to the history of the Vivad as I recall. And probably, there are some many seniors here. They will be recalling many more such schemes prior to this. But what I have listed is the schemes which came into place after my qualifying as a CA, right? So in 95, I qualified as a CA. From there, in 98, when I was 3 years old in practice, I could see this Vivad Samadhan scheme 1998, which was for direct and indirect tax both. Then came direct tax dispute resolution scheme 2016, which was almost similar. Both the schemes, this direct tax dispute resolution scheme, and there was Kar Vivad Samadhan scheme, sorry, direct tax dispute resolution scheme, and the disclosure scheme of 2016. I forgot the name, pardon me for that. The disclosure of scheme of 2016. That scheme failed, and that was the reason of the genesis of demonetization, because the government was not happy in the manner in which that scheme took off. They wanted much more revenue from that particular scheme, which was a disclosure scheme in 2016. Didn't take off well for various reasons, and therefore the demonetization was done. That okay, if you're not going by the carrot, let me use my stick now. So then the demonetization came in 2016. Then we had this Sabka Vishwas, of course, it was pre-GST era, Sabka Vishwas Legacy Dispute Resolution Scheme, etc. Then we had Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Act 2020. It was an act, in contradiction to what we have today is a separate scheme. It is not an act. Whenever we are talking about in future, whenever we talk about the scheme of 24, we will have to refer the sections of Finance Number 2 Bill 2024, because there is no separate act as compared to 2020. There are many similarities between the two schemes, 20 and 24. Many places they are similar, but there are some divergent points, and they are absolutely working against the assessment. We will discuss that, of course. But suffice for us as of now to understand that there was a separate act in 20, and there is a scheme which is part of Finance Number 2 Act 24. So all the sections wherever they are mentioned here in my slides are the sections of the Finance Number 2 Act 2024. They are not the income tax section. So please read it in that context. And therefore we have Vivad Se Vishwas scheme 2024. So the question which comes to my mind, do they really want to wish levy happily ever after? In all the stories we always say, and thereafter lived happily ever after. Do they really want it? Or is there that many Vivads are going to be generated out of the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme? Some further Vivad getting generated from this? I don't rule out that possibility. I in fact see many places where it is likely to come up. Having said so, at the same time, I am not against the scheme. I am not at all canvassing that you should not go under the scheme. There may be some very good cases. Good cases, when I say good cases, I mean good cases for the scheme, and bad cases if it is followed in the normal appeal route. Say for example, you know that on documents your case is weak. You know that there are cases of very old years where the interest amount is such huge that my tax burden is becoming very astronomical figure because of the interest amount. Yes, and you find that ultimately kahin na kahin mujhe shanti chahiye. Yes, in those situations probably this scheme may be a good scheme. We'll see what lies in this. Of course, I think the scheme is now quite an old scheme. It was announced in July, and 1st October se roll out ho gaya. So I think all of you must have already gone through the basic section. So I may not be spending too much of time on that, but we'll discuss some of the finer issues, and in the process we'll run through the scheme also. So there may be some good cases where this scheme may be advisable. At the same time, there may be some cases where this scheme is absolutely hopeless. The person may not be willing to go under the scheme for various reasons. And whether the case is good for the scheme or good for the normal process is for the professional to decide. Here lies our role as a proper professional. We should be guiding our clients in the correct manner as to whether he'll be better off in scheme or better off under the normal process. That is the role which we as a professional will need to play, because we know the case, the facts, the documents, the evidences, the march of law in the court, the decisions coming in favor, going against. We have got a hand on it, and therefore we should be able to judge that, right? So therefore this is the purpose. They want to reduce this, but whether this happens or not, let us see. Let us travel down to the scheme, and these are the sections, as I said, of the Finance Number 2 Act 2024. I will not mention that again and again, but Finance Number 2 Act 2024, Section 89(1)(a), some of the terms which are very relevant for our understanding. What do you mean by appellant? And this defines broadly, this term defines appellant, but this Section 89(1)(a) broadly gives you the scope of the scheme, right? Because the manner in which it is defined, if you are an appellant, you can go for the scheme. And if you are, when you will be appellant, that is what this section says. So it says that a person in whose case an appeal or a writ petition or SLP has been filed, A, by him, or B, by the department. So both the things are covered. It may be my appeal, it may be the department's appeal, it may be SLP or writ petition before High Court. Then before any appellate forum. So by any appellate forum, we have right from joint CID appeal. So in 2020, when this scheme came, joint CRT appeal was not an authority. All of us know it has been notified as an authority in recent past. So today, joint CRT appeal is also one of the authority. So right from joint CRT appeal, ITAT, High Court or Supreme Court, at whatever stage your matter is there, you can go under the scheme if it is appeal is filed either by you or by the department against you. And such appeal petition, etc., is pending on the specified date, that is 22nd July 2024. 22nd July 24 is the specified date for all practical purpose. They have been referring to specified date, but specified date is defined in the scheme itself to mean 22nd July. Why? Because on 23rd July, Madam came out with the budget. So all those things which have happened prior to 22nd July, they are going to cover in the scheme. Please.
The appeal is pending on 22nd July, but judgment has come afterwards, say in the July or
Yes.
whatever time.
Yes. That is the precise answer which has been given in FAQ 4 circular. So now, after the scheme was notified, it started from 1st of October. The scheme is operational from 1st of October. On 15th of October, CBDT came with one circular number 12 of 15th October 2024, and it is in the form of FAQ. As normally the CBDT issues the circular, it is in the form of FAQ. This particular question, FAQ 4, itself deals with the question which you raised, sir. It says the same situation, whether the appeal was pending. When the appeal was pending on 22nd of July, but it was decided, say, on 14th of August, where do I stand? Can I take part in the scheme? And the answer, to my great surprise, the CBDT says no. Now, there is no dispute prevalent. The appeal is decided, and therefore there is no dispute prevalent. You cannot go under Vivad sanctions. Now here, and that's why my bullet is there in the red bullet. This is the circular which is going contrary to the act. Here, the circular is going absolutely contrary to the act. We are all aware that circular cannot go contrary to the act. Act is master, rules come thereafter. Circulars and notifications are the servants of act. Is it not? Therefore, in my humble view, this FAQ answer to FAQ 4 is absolutely incorrect, crossing the jurisdiction. When the act permits me to go for the scheme, you are saying no, now there is no dispute, you cannot go. Absolutely unfair. See, that is what I'm saying. They want to give the scheme, but at the same time keep all the reins in their hand. I want to make my horse run, but all the reins will be in my hand. I will decide where he will go, where he will not go. This is not done. See, your FAQ, your intention in FAQ 4 is going against the purpose for which the scheme is done. That should not be a problem. That should not be a problem. Yes. Of course, this will be challenged. Writ petition before High Court. So in a given case, see, if it's a small amount, probably nobody would bother, right? And we have seen this, we have faced this. 87A is the classic example, right? Last year 87A, 5th July तक मिल रहा था, 6th July से नहीं मिल रहा है. जैसे उनकी मर्जी, right? The form utility decides, not only the form, the utility. Pathetic, to say the least, right? Your utility, 5th July हम लोग को सबको दे दिया, 6th July से नहीं मिल रहा है, and because the amount is small, 10,000, 12,000, 8,000, somewhere in there, right? The person does not have a wherewithal to go and fight in the court, right? My counsel's bill will be much more than that. I am a small individual, I will not be able to do that. So small people will not litigate. But when some huge corporate is affected by this, maybe 1,000 crore demand, he wanted to go under VSV. Certainly this will be challenged. And therefore I'm saying that Vivad is not going to go away, Vivad is going to remain here. It will be generated in different fashions, right? Sir was saying about delayed appeal, condonation should not be a problem. Appeal should be pending on that day, 22nd July, that is the point. We go further. Further, the scheme also says, it also covers a person who has filed objections before DRP. So those cases where, draft assessment order 144C orders, draft assessment orders are passed by the AO. You are before DRP, you can go under the scheme, there is no difficulty. Also, a person in whose case DRP has issued directions. So the third stage, the stage thereafter, that you have filed objections to the DRP against the draft order, DRP has already given the directions to the AO, but the AO has not yet passed the effective order. So the secretarial work is pending. Even in that cases, you can go for the scheme, there is no difficulty. And fourth is a person who has filed an application for revision under section 264, and such application is pending on the specified date. So as we all know, appeal and 264 are two separate routes which one can take as a remedial measure. So even if you're pursuing the 264 route, you can still go under the scheme. There is no difficulty. So far, so good. Subject to this FAQ4, which I think we have discussed in detail. Cases where order has been passed by the AO or CIT appeal before specified date and the time for filing the appeal is not yet expired. Sir was talking about delayed appeal. I am taking a different example. I am saying that the CIT appeal has passed an order on, say, 1st of July. And therefore, I was having 60 days, right? Order is passed. Now, there, as on 22nd July, there is no appeal pending. But my appeal before tribunal can be filed within 60 days. July se leke I am having time up to 1st of September. It is yet pending. The FAQ 9 says that it is not possible of circular number 12 because it is not pending. Now, what is the fault of this person? Why he is not allowed? See, sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So this is a case where your officer has passed one order on 1st of July. On 1st of July, I was not having in my dreams also that there will be scheme coming on 23rd of July. And I'm having 60 days time to file appeal to tribunal. You stop me coming in the scheme. Why? What is the purpose? The purpose should be open-hearted. I should be welcoming people. If my purpose is to reduce litigation, if you don't permit me, I will be having all rights to go to tribunal tomorrow and file appeal and litigate. Right? You will be spending, your DR will come, your time will be spent, your efforts, energy, my efforts, energy, everything will go there. Is that the purpose? The answer is big and clear, no. But this is the answer which we get in FAQ 9. They say that in such a situation, there is no dispute pending as on 22nd July and therefore forget it, don't come under the scheme. Of course, this was covered in VSP 2020. So in my slides, I have tried to take some of the good points of VSP 2020 also so as to enable us to relate wherever required. In 2020, this was covered by way of an amendment. So when 2020 scheme came, in the original scheme it was not there. This situation was not permitted. Representations were made. After considering those representations, government had believed that yes, this is sensible. What suggestion is coming is a sensible suggestion. Therefore, they accepted that suggestion and at the time of enactment, they changed it and permitted it. Now, today, when you are drafting your 2024 scheme, you are having the benefit of your 20 scheme, right? That time we had to shout at you, we had to draw your attention. Today it is there before you. Why did you allow on the upfront day, on the very first day? No. On the contrary, on 15th of October, I am issuing a circular. In that circular, I will say, no, I will not permit. Why? I really fail to understand why. No serious application of mind, just a egocentric approach, maybe. हमने जो किया वही सही, right? So therefore, not permitted. In fact, in 2020 scheme, there was delayed appeal were also permitted. So sir was talking about a delayed appeal which is already pending. Sir, there is a difference between what you are saying and what I am saying now. There it was saying that on the date of filing of declaration, even if your appeal is delayed, you file an appeal and immediately next day you go for VSP, you are allowed. Question number 59, which was issued at that time. So friends, in 2020, there were two circulars issued by the CBDT. One was circular number 9 of 2020. I'm not remembering the date, but it's very easy to get. And one was circular number 21. In fact, there were circular 7, circular 9, and then circular 21. The circular number 9 was primarily, copied from circular number 7. There were only some cosmetic changes, so let us forget that. Circular number 9, for all practical purposes, was our circular, and 21. In that circular, they have given questions, answers, again in FAQ form. So in my slides, whenever I am referring anything as question number, it is the 20 ka circular. And whenever I am saying FAQ, it is the present circular of 15th October 2020. So question number 59 of 2020 circular permitted that even when the appeal is delayed and it is not yet filed on the date of the scheme being announced, I was allowed to participate in the scheme. Today they are not allowed. That brings us to a very important question. How do my money go? What do I give and what do I get? Please, sir.
And as an appeal, now in the appellate order, the commissioner has given the direction to dispose of my identification application. That is what we dispose of the action.
But appeal is decided prior to 22nd July. So they will say that there is no appeal pending. There is no appeal pending. This type of representation, this type of points, I'll take home, and we are going to make a representation to the CBDT again on VSV. In fact, on 11th of this month, I was there before the CBDT chairman. During the course of our discussion, we have mentioned some of the things, but some suggestions like this, can you please mail it to me? They have said that you can send detailed representation. When we were for some different purpose for a pre-budget discussion, they have said, CBDT chairman was very receptive, and he has said that you can send further suggestions for VSV as well as for simplification. So if you have something, please share it with me. I will be very happy to assemble everything and put it before them. Ideally, such situation should get covered, but unfortunately, it will not. Right? So let us count our outflow now. Now again, here there is a clear-cut, so to say, discrimination made by the CBDT, made by the ministry while they are announcing this scheme, and therefore this slide deals with situation 1, situation 2 in the second slide. If my quantum appeal, my any appeal for that matter, is filed after 31st of January 2020, then this is my outflow, right? In the first phase, which is there up to December, I'll be required to make the payment of the tax. Entire amount of tax I have to pay. And I'll be getting remission in respect of the interest, and penalty will not be levied. This is what I'm going to get. I have to pay disputed tax if I am under the first phase. If I cannot do it by 31st December, if I enter the second phase, then I have to pay 110% of the disputed tax, and interest and penalty will be waived off. That is fine. If it is my appeal is against interest or penalty, so quantum is not there, only interest के सामने मेरा appeal है या penalty के सामने appeal है. In that situation, in the first phase, I will pay 25%. In the second phase, I will pay 30%. That is what the phase-wise discussion. But please bear in mind that this is only in regard to the appeals which are filed after 31st of January 2020. Right? After 31st of January 2020. Why 31st January 2020? Because on 1st February 2020, there was a budget presented by the finance minister in which the VSV scheme 2020 was announced. You did not file an appeal, you did not participate in that, and therefore the cost of missing the bus is this. Now this is again a complete discrimination, absolutely ridiculous in my mind. What they are saying is this: if your appeal was already pending on 31st of January 2020, then a higher rate of outflow. Why? Because your appeal was pending on 31st of January 20, you did not participate in that VSV 20 जो हमने announce किया था. You did not participate. Now you are coming. You are a late entrant. जेबी नगर स्टडी सर्कल कोई प्रोग्राम अनाउंस करता है तो अर्ली बर्ड करता है, right? This is late bird. Can it be? Can this be in the correct way? Are you a trader? Is the government a trader, first of all? Are you a commercial enterprise? First question. Second question, 31st January 2020, you announced the scheme. I had filed my appeal on, say, 25th of January 2020. On my heart, I was having faith in the system. I was having absolute good faith in your system that, sir, you will decide my appeal within some time. 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, whatever. This was my firm belief in the system. On 25th of January 2020, I had belief in my case, I had belief in the system. I did not participate in the scheme. For various reasons, I may not have participated, right? But can you today say that no, just because you have not participated in the earlier scheme, now beta pay 110%? How much justified? Absolutely ridiculous, to say the least. Friends, please appreciate that as the litigation prolongs, as the life of the litigation, becomes long and long, you lose your patience. Your patience is lost when you are 4 years old appeal. My patience was absolutely there when it was 2 months old appeal, but today it is 4 years and 2 months. And now I have started losing my temper. These people are not deciding. In between, I have filed submissions 10 times in your bloody faceless appeal portal. 10 times I have filed submissions. You are not deciding. For no fault of mine, my order is pending at your, it has been bottlenecked there. You are not allowing to go to tribunal. You are not allowing to go back. You are just hanging me there. ऐसा लटका के रख दिया मेरी आत्मा को. Now you are saying pay 110,000. It is absolutely unfair, right? It is the failure of the faceless appeal mechanism that we have to have this type of schemes every 4 years. Faceless appeal today, the number of pendency, I am not able to recollect the number, but it is very huge. And the CBDT also accepts this. Yes, this is our failure. For 2 years in between, there was COVID, where the entire world was at a break. Nobody was doing anything. And you're expecting this, you pay extra. Why? Unfair. But this is how it is. No, because it's a monopoly, they will work like this. So they are saying, okay, if it is your old appeal and you did not participate, ज़्यादा भरो, 10% सब में बढ़ा दिया है. Of course, वहाँ पे 25 का 30 और penalty में 30 and 35, 110, 120. Absolutely incorrect in my view, but anyway. Let us go to a situation where there is an appeal filed by the department. So I won in CID appeal, the department goes to tribunal. I won the tribunal, department goes to High Court, so on and so forth. What will be the position? They are saying that in such cases where the appeal is filed by the department and still I want to settle, right? Most of the time I would not like to. Why would I? I have got a favorable order from tribunal, the department is in High Court. I believe that I will be having the same result at High Court. I would not go. But if I want to have an absolute peace of mind, I don't want to take 1% chance, right? Then I can. In that situation, they are saying your tax outgo will be 50% of the computation which you are doing otherwise. So first phase, 100%, 110%, जो भी आया उसका 50% in short, right? If my appeal is, it's a department. If it is a covered issue, now all of us are aware about covered issue, right? That in one particular year, say for example, undervaluation of stock, in one particular year, the tribunal or High Court has decided in my favor, and therefore it is covered issue in my favor. Second year, the same fate is there. The matter is in before the litigation authorities, either before High Court, tribunal, whatever. I am having a situation that my case is anyway going to be covered by my own case. Therefore, I am on a very stronger wicket. There they say, okay, in that situation also you have to pay 50%. So appeal filed before CIT appeal or JCIT or DRP, where the decision is given by ITAT or High Court, then amount shall be 50%. Only condition is, of course, and this is fair, of course, this is not wrong, where they say that though the tribunal might have, in my case, say for example, assessment year 15-16, tribunal is given in my favor, but department went to High Court, department got a reversal of that order. Then I will not be having that 50%, certainly. That is absolutely fair. Then the last order is against me, and therefore I will be having 100% situation fair. So far, so good. High Court or Supreme Court should not have reversed it. Similarly, if it is appeal filed before ITAT, where order of High Court is there on any issue decided in favor 50%, provided Supreme Court has not reversed the order of the High Court. Fine. The problem is here. What if the order is of the same forum? And there is no answer to that. See, we are saying that my appeal pending before CIT for the subsequent year, and I have a favorable order of tribunal for the earlier year, you will give me 50% concession. Fine. Why not when my appeal is decided by tribunal and this appeal is also pending before tribunal? As a matter of judicial prudence, we know that the coordinate bench decision will always prevail. If it is in my own case or if in any other case for that matter, the decision of coordinate bench will always prevail. And the tribunal in the second year cannot go against me if my original order is in my favor, the earlier order is in my favor, unless and until they distinguish the facts. Unless and until they distinguish the facts. So if it is absolutely one-to-one same, then the tribunal has no business to take a different view, or maybe they will have to form a special bench. That is the only option available to the next bench, which is hearing the matter. In such a situation, the same level, or if the High Court is in my favor and the present appeal is also at High Court, why not give 50%? Why are you insisting on the higher forum? Where as per judicial prudence, the same forum also will give the same view. And I am not having any situation different than the higher forum. You should have given them. But here again, they are giving no concession. You will be having 100%. So ITAT to ITAT level, 100%, no concession here. What if favorable order is from Supreme Court? And this is a question which has been asked in this FAQ. They are saying, what is the situation where the favorable order is, in my case, is from Supreme Court and appeal is pending before High Court? Do I get 50% concession? That is what the question was asked. And very correctly, the CBDT has said They have said that in this situation, the associate need not settle only. Right? Absolutely fair. That is correct. They are saying, in fact, the question was wrong. When the person asked the question itself was wrong. But anyway, we want clarification on everything. So therefore, the question was asked. कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट मेरे फेवर में है सर, तो हाई कोर्ट में मेरा पेंडिंग है दूसरे साल का, तो मैं सेटल करूंगा तो 50% मिलेगा. They said don't settle. Right? Why do you want to settle when Supreme Court is in your favor? Right? They have not discussed. Tomorrow if we come with a retrospective amendment तो क्या होगा, वो अलग बात है, वो आपको डिसाइड करना है सर. But they have said in such a situation the associate need not settle as there is no dispute. Good that they are at least respecting the Supreme Court. I'm happy that at least they are respecting the Supreme Court for whatever good reason, right? And they say that if there are multiple additions, so there was issue before Supreme Court, 3 issues were there. One of them is in my favor. Sorry, my appeal before Supreme Court is allowed in my favor. One of the issue is common, so that I have to carve out, and the balance 2, which is pending in the next year, uske liye mere ko normal process I have to do. That's fine. Also, there are cases where appeal are filed by department and also covered. Now, this is not answered. This is my question, in fact, and this I'm going to seek one favor from them if at all it comes. See, there may be a case. They are saying appeal pending before tribunal 50%. Appeal on covered issue 50%. There may be a combination of these two. Despite of a favorable order in my favor in year 1, the tribunal, the department has gone to tribunal in year 2. It is absolutely possible. And we have seen the level of litigation in this country. They are enjoying this. As per their protocol, they have to file appeal. इसके ऊपर अमाउंट हुआ तो सब चीज करने का मतलब करने का, ये नहीं देखने का कि पिछले साल इसी का ट्राइब्यूनल का ऑर्डर उसके फेवर में है, फिर भी हो जाएगा उधर ट्राइब्यूनल में. वहां पे आप 5 मिनट में आपका मैटर डिसाइड हो सकता है. बट दे विल ट्राई टू डू सम राउंड ट्रिपिंग, कुछ ना कुछ ये इशू वो इशू कुछ ना कुछ नया लेके आएंगे, फैक्ट डिस्टिंग्विश करने का कोशिश करेंगे. दे विल ट्राई टू डू दैट टाइम पास एंड देन एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट विल बी डिसाइडेड इन योर फेवर. Now it is already covered in my favor. You are forcing me into litigation. Still, you are giving me 50% only. Do I not deserve better treatment? Can you not give me 20%, 25%, something like this? But the scheme does not give you. So you are falling category condition 1 tick mark, condition 2 tick mark, both tick mark होने के बाद भी मुझे 50 से बेनिफिट ज्यादा नहीं मिलेगा, 50 से 50 रहता है, right? In such a situation, probably the scheme will not be taking off. People will certainly not go for the scheme. If you want to still make this scheme fly, then give some further concession, 20%, 25% leke aao. People will come forth, right? But anyway, favorable order of which year? That is also one question. See, it is also possible that the year-wise litigation, my year 2 is decided before year 1 by ITIT. Possible, absolutely possible, because in faceless appeal, मेरा कौन सा पहले डिसाइड होता है, कौन सा वहां पहले जाता है, वहां पे किसने एडजमेंट कितना लिया, क्या होता है, you don't know, right? So my year 2 might get decided before year 1, and there is a common issue involved in both the thing. Whether do I get the benefit? The answer to that seems to be no. It seems to be unfortunately no, because when I refer to, there is of course no clarity under this scheme, but when I refer to 2020 ka circular number question number 28, it says benefit is available for later year if favorable order is for the earlier year, but not the converse. Now this is again unfortunate, right? It is absolutely possible. My second year might be decided first, first year might be decided later on. That is possible. Why not give that concession? But that in 20 also they have not given. So ये साल तो भूल जाओ. The 20 scheme was much more open-hearted than this 24 scheme. 24 तो बहुत restrictive है, ऐसा उसको कहीं उन्होंने जहाँ जगह मिला ऐसा वो कर दिया है, ठीक है? So not possible. And also please appreciate that the favorable order must be in the assessee own case, right? So if it is a case of company A and company B is in litigation, issue involved is same, principle is same, absolutely one-to-one same, facts one-to-one legal principles, still I cannot say that because in the case of company A you are given this benefit by High Court also, you give me the same treatment in company B, 50% दे दो. No, sorry sir, it should be in your own case. So you are only giving support to those who are seasoned litigators. Is it not? The person who is a one-time litigator, वो बेचारा दूसरे किसी कंपनी का डिसीजन आया है तो he is having a faith कि चलो मेरे को भी वही होगा, उसको आप 50% नहीं दोगे. right? Let us therefore look what is the disputed amount of tax. Ultimately, how do I compute my outflow? And this is the computation. So where appeal is pending before appellate authority, then tax that will be payable if you have to assume that my appeal is going to be decided against me and work out the tax. If it is before the DRP, objection is filed before DRP, then you have to assume that the DRP is not going to give me any benefit, no concession is going to come, and therefore accordingly you work out. If the DRP has issued some directions and it is pending before AO, in such a situation, see here only it is beneficial to the associate. It cannot work against the associate because DRP has given some concessions. Suppose when the matter is before DRP, DRP has given some concession. Suppose say for example, in the draft order, the addition proposed was 10 crore. DRP has restricted it to 8 crore. So that 2 crore which you have gained by way of going before DRP is not going to be taken away from you. They will be saying yes, on 8 crore you pay the tax, and that will be the end of the story. If you want to settle when the matter is pending before the AO after the order of the DRP. And if it is revision petition before CIT into 264, then you have to assume that your revision petition is not going to be accepted and compute your tax liability accordingly. Of course, this tax also includes surcharge and education cess, of course, without doubt. So accordingly, you have to compute, and thereafter 100%, 110%, 120%, as the case may be, you have to compute and pay it. If it is department's appeal, pay 50% of that amount computed. This is very good, and this was there in, of course, 2020 scheme also, where it says that, see, consider a case where my dispute is in relation to unabsorbed losses. I filed my return for 10 crore loss of 10 crore. Assessment took place, my loss was reduced to say 5 crore. So there was an addition of 5 crore, my loss is reduced to 5 crore. Now, if I want to go under the scheme, what do? Do I make the payment on that 5 crore rupees, the difference? Or I don't have to pay because ultimately it is still loss to loss. I don't have to pay anything. There they are giving an option to you. You can either make payment of that 5 crore. If you make the payment on that 5 crore, your unabsorbed losses which you will be carrying forward to the next year will remain intact. You will go back to the size of to the level of 10 crore, you carry forward 10 crore. Or if you don't want to make the payment under VSV, then you settle and accept that your unabsorbed losses which will go to the next year will be 5 crore. Right? I hope I have made the things clear. Same situation for unabsorbed depreciation, for MAT credit or AMT credit, etc. Both the options are available. You take it whatever you like. You make the payment today, use it in future. Don't make the payment and reduce your losses of future, or AMT credit or MAT credit of future. That is what they are saying. What if enhancement? And now this is again where we have to see. So it is possible that the CIT can issue an enhancement notice. We are aware that under the provisions of the Act, the CIT is having the power of enhancement. The VSV 2020, it provided that if a CIT appeal has issued enhancement notice on or before specified date, they said, so on that day, if the CIT has already issued notice when the scheme came into force, then I have to also factor that as if that enhancement is going to be ultimately made. That is what 2020 scheme said. Today's scheme, there is absolutely no such provision in the scheme. The Finance Number 2 Act, the sections, does not have any specific mention. In 2020, there was a statutory mention of that particular situation. Can I therefore interpret that when you are having the benefit of your 2020 scheme, when you draft this scheme, you have intentionally left it? You don't want us to pay that tax. Am I justified in taking that view? I would feel something which is not recognized in the statute. Despite of this situation coming to surface, being known to them, they have not done this. I would feel certainly on enhancement part, you don't need to pay tax. The scheme does not do. However, FAQ 16, and when this was brought out in October, by way of FAQ 16, they are saying that in such a case, this is covered under disputed tax. Can it really be said? Can the circular expand the scope of the Act? I would feel no. And there are so many decisions, so many judicial prudence on that, which say that the circular can certainly not expand the scope of the Act. Go to Rule 8D. We have got classic decisions under Rule 8D. Go to ICDS provisions. They are the notifications. They cannot expand the scope of the Act. There has been so many settled proposition on that. And there, despite of that, they say that in such a situation, you will have to factor that in. Here again, I would feel if a big corporate is fighting the matter, they would have good case to argue that, look here, your scheme is not giving such provision, and therefore I don't care what your circular says, keep it with you. I really don't care about your FAQ, right? Possible. But this is where the dispute will again start. If it is disputed interest and fee, then in that case, of course, interest determined in any case under the Act, where such interest is not charged or chargeable on the disputed tax. So see the difference. There may be a case of interest appeal against the interest, where it is connected to the disputed income. In such a case, you are not allowed to go under the VSV for the interest part. You have to go for the main appeal, the addition itself, and interest will be waived. But if you are against, if you are in appeal only against the interest, now in today's time, actually, 234 ABC being absolutely mandatory, I am not able to frame an example. And if any of you can guide me on that, where situation will be that interest separately contest after Anjum Daswala's case, Supreme Court, and after 234 ABC being mandatory, I don't see any reason anybody for anybody to be in appeal against interest, only interest. I don't see anything. If you have some example in mind, then please let me know. Maybe there may be cases of 222 writ petition. Maybe 220(2). I have requested waiver and the CIT is not given, and I am in there. I am before High Court. Maybe that type of situation. Probably. I'm not too sure. But theoretically understanding the point that if at all it is that way, then the disputed income will be such interest which is not charged or chargeable on the disputed tax, and an appeal has been filed by the appellant in respect of such interest. That is fine. Disputed fee, I can see just example of 234E, those 200 rupees delay which was there, and people are filing appeal against that. 234E, 234F in today's time also. So those type of situation means the fees which is determined under the Act in respect of which the appeal is pending. Penalty, again, penalty determined in any case under the Act where such penalty is not levied or leviable in respect of disputed income. So if you are in appeal only against penalty, then yes, you can go for the VSV scheme only against that penalty, and appeal should be pending, of course, on that day, on the specified day. Some of the issues, and here practical something comes up. Quantum appeal and penalty appeal both are pending. My quantum appeal is pending, my penalty appeal is also pending. What will I do? So simple answer is assessee needs to settle the quantum appeal, and penalty will be waived off. He cannot settle penalty appeal and continue with the quantum appeal. This is what has been said in FAQ 11. Also, the scheme says so. Both are on the same page, right? So FAQ 11 as well as the scheme both says that you cannot settle the penalty appeal and keeping your quantum appeal pending. That is not possible. Yes, please.
And the demands are paid.
Both the demands are paid. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, you will get it. That is the beauty of it. You get it. Yes. Quantum appeal is disposed. So, after example, yes, you will get the refund. Another example, quantum appeal is disposed while my penalty appeal is pending. Now that the quantum appeal is disposed, there is no dispute in relation to the quantum. As far as penalty is concerned, my appeal is pending. I can settle by paying 25%, 30% as the case may be, or 35%, 40%, 30, 35, whatever that percentage we have seen, right? You can settle only penalty appeal when your quantum appeal is already decided. If it is pending, then you cannot, right? Quantum appeal not filed at all. I have not filed appeal against quantum at all. Can I go for the scheme for penalty appeal? That is the question, and therefore let us look at this again. Penalty determined in case, what is the disputed penalty? Penalty determined in any case under the Act where such penalty is not levied or leviable in respect of disputed income or disputed tax. Please appreciate it is talking about disputed income or disputed tax. Something which was never disputed. Something which was never disputed by me. I had accepted the quantum addition, but I had challenged penalty. And there can be various reasons for my doing so, right? In such a situation, certainly the tax which we are talking about in this example is not a disputed tax or disputed income, sorry. It is undisputed. And therefore, nothing prevents me to say that this is a penalty which is not levied or leviable in respect of disputed income, and my appeal is pending. Certainly, I can go for a VSV declaration in respect of that penalty pending. What about the situation where appeal is filed to the tribunal by assessee against penalty confirmed by the CIT appeal, yes, certainly he can go and he will have to pay 100% of the total amount which we have computed. If it is the converse, if it is filed by department, then 50%, of course. In both the situations, he can go for the appeal, because we have seen in the very first slide that whether the appeal is filed by me or the revenue is immaterial. In both the situations, I can still be the declarant under the scheme. These are some of the procedures, of course, that I have to file Form 1, and we are already now today on 24th of November. 31st December is the first phase getting over. So if at all we are, envisaging some of our clients to go under the scheme, we should now start, moving towards it, and we should start taking the notes of the situation, how good, how bad the case is, try to evaluate and start moving on the direction. Yes. So declaration to be filed before a designated authority in Form 1, we have to waive off our right. The person has to waive off our right to further litigation. So he can not litigate, continuing to make a declaration and also litigate. Both paths cannot be taken. You have to waive off your right. Under 2020, there was a Form 2, specific form was there. In this scheme, there is no form, but I think there is some tick mark in that form. I have not seen the form. I am yet to start my process. But yes, in this scheme, we have to waive off our right. There was a separate form in 2020, but that hardly matters. Declaration will be deemed to not have been filed if you do these of the three consequences. If you are having any material error in that statement, material false declaration, if you do, then your declaration is liable to be rejected, and you will be having a difficulty. If the declarant violates any of the conditions, or if it does not in accordance with any of the undertaking which you are giving, in such a situation, your original appeal will get revived, and withdrawal will be you will be reinstated to the appeal proceedings. Appellate authorities will not decide the issue, that is fine. And in fact, this is a real life example. If you are requesting them that yes, we are contemplating to go under VSV, they will normally grant you an adjournment. They will not proceed with the hearing. So if at all in any of your case you are planning to do it, in the adjournment letter, please mention that we are going for VSV. We are at least contemplating. We are evaluating the appeal normally given. They will not have any difficulty on that. This is the effect of declaration, that once you file, if your appeal is before a CIT or ITLT, and you make a declaration under the scheme, after this, they will be issuing one certificate within 15 days. Once that certificate is issued, their appeal is deemed to have been withdrawn. So that is the end of the appeal route for you. What will be the situation if it is department's appeal? Now I file a declaration and there is an appeal by the department in tribunal. I file a declaration. What will be the position? In 2020, we were very clearly told that the department will withdraw. Similar circular is missing as of today in the present scheme. It is missing, but in all probability, the same path will be followed. They will be issuing one more circular probably. I think I am expecting very soon. Because now already we are entering the month of December within 3-4 days. So maybe they will be coming with one circular, and they will say that yes, in such a situation, the department will withdraw. If you have filed a declaration, department will withdraw. Because if it is my appeal, it can be deemed to be withdrawn on my action. If it is department's appeal, my action cannot withdraw the department's appeal, right? You get me? So therefore, they will withdraw, they are saying. If it is appeal before High Court or Supreme Court, because there is a separate procedure there, what they are saying that if it is there, you file a declaration, appeal or petition which has been to be withdrawn after the certificate is issued, you do that, you issue that withdrawal letter with your withdrawal order with your further form which you will be making payment, and then you will be withdrawing your appeal. In 2020, of course, any petition of arbitration, conciliation, so international transactions, arbitration, international arbitration, conciliations, all those things were also getting covered, mediation, etc. In today's time, there is no such scheme for international transactions. For international transaction, in fact, there is a complete no entry for the scheme. VSV 2024, there is not, that's not open for the international transaction. There is a separate specific section 96A4 which denies all these transactions to enter the VSV. So within 15 days of my filing of the form, they will issue one certificate. Designated authority will issue certificate. By designated authority, we mean CIT. He will issue one certificate giving me the amount of payment which I have to make. Within next 15 days, I have to make the payment, and that will be the end of the story. Thereafter, they will be issuing me the final certificate. Now here there is a difficulty, practical difficulty which can come up. See, say for example, I file my declaration on 17th of December, right? He is going to give in 15 days, so that will bring January. If I want to make the payment by 31st December under the lesser tax part, if I go to January, it will be 110%. If I want to do that How do I take the benefit of that first phase? That is the question. 17th December or 24th of December, I filed a declaration. I'll have some practical difficulty. And therefore, this was also discussed in the 2020 scheme with CBDT. A specific request was made that what will we do? Unnecessarily, we are going in the second phase for no fault of us as such. So they said that, okay, this 15 days is the outer time. This was a specific reply in one of the questions they have given. Is an outer time. Our officers will try to help you. If you're coming with a declaration, they will try to see to it that you get your certificate much faster than that and you will be able to make the payment. That is what they are saying. Hopefully, similar situation will also come in this present scheme. But better if you are doing, as of now, the circular is not there. This is the old circular of 2020. So if at all you are planning to go for BSP for some of your client, better to go to the drawing board immediately, and maybe by 10th of December, if you file a declaration 10th, 12th December, you better, so that you don't fight against the time and make extra payment of the taxes. But circular I am expecting should come. Yes, so this order will be passed. This is conclusive. So this is also very important. Every order passed by the designated authority, meaning commissioner, is the final order. There cannot be any dispute on that. Tomorrow you cannot generate Vivad out of this. You cannot go to tribunal with this certificate that look here, this is not correct, right? There will be final and binding on both the sides. However, it is possible that there will be some clerical errors, some calculation errors, the mistake apparent from the record, as we call under section 154. What do I do? Just because he has done some calculation error, do I have to pay extra? 5, because the section says it will be final and binding. Then in 2020, there was a circular question number 46, which said that the designated authority has a right to correct the apparent errors. He will not be deciding on principles. Once this certificate under 92(1) is issued, he will not be deciding on principle that आपका ये issue disputed है, undisputed है, 50% मिलना चाहिए, 100% मिलना चाहिए, ये सब decision नहीं लेगा. But if there is a calculation error in the scheme, then he will certainly do that. He will give you the rectification type of order, which was there in question number 46 of 2020 scheme. Present scheme, it is yet to come. Hopefully, it will come. This is very important. All of us to know, because many a time this question comes up in the minds of the assessee, and many professionals are also asking this question. So there are situations where in year 1, my case under valuation of stock, addition is made. Year 2, again under valuation of stock. Year 3 also, year 4 also, year 5. हर साल में मेरा ये हुआ है. या कोई particular दूसरा एक example ले लेते. One particular creditor, loan creditor, has been added in year 1. I took further loan in year 2, that is added. Year 3, that is added, and so on and so forth. Now in one of the year, the interest amount is so big that I am feeling, no, Baba, let me settle under VSB and let me finish off. Can therefore, if I settle this issue in year 1 or year 3, whatever, can the department come and say that, look here, he has admitted that this is bogus, and therefore in all other years also this addition is justified? Can the department say so? This is a fear which people carry. Sir, एक साल हुआ तो मेरा वो सभी perpetual आ रहा है, तो हर एक साल में मेरा वो उसका effect आ जाएगा. Am I affected? And that prevents me. That puts a big break on my decision to go under VSB. Can the department come back and say that? The answer is a clear-cut big and capital no. Department cannot do that. Section 92(4) of the Act itself is saying very clearly that making a declaration under the scheme shall not amount to conceding the tax position, and it shall not be lawful for the income tax authority or declarant both. If any, declarant to contend that the declarant or authority has acquiesced with the decision in the disputed issue by settling the dispute. So this is only a settlement. We are not accepting that you are wrong. You are not accepting that we are wrong. It is only a settlement to buy peace of mind. Shanti ki neend sone ka scheme hai ye. You cannot take something I have declared. Say for example, how the assessee will use this. Say for example, in year 1, I make a declaration in respect of one bogus loan. In year 2, there is an interest payment to that. Can I say that now that is disallowed? Can I say that because in year 1 my loan has been, I have paid tax on this, allow me this reduction of interest? The answer is again no. So assessee cannot use it. Department also cannot use it against you, right? This is very helpful, because otherwise the scheme will never take off. These are the immunities available. So after making this payment and all those things, what do I get in return? What I get is the designated authority will not institute any proceeding for an offense, meaning that by prosecution will not be launched in my case. It will not impose any penalty. It will not charge any interest under the act on me. What about interest already levied or penalty already levied? That is the question which I think somebody was raising. That yes, if the interest is already levied on me, the order is passed, the interest is levied. They will be passing the order to give effect to the effect that the interest will be cancelled. If I already made the payment, sir was asking whether I can get the refund. Yes, I think subsequently 1 or 2 slides later, we have that you will get the refund also, but you will not get the interest under 244A. That is what it is very clearly saying for the refund part. Right? So no express provision to mention that the same will be deleted. The interest or penalty which is already levied, there is no express provision. But yes, if you look at the scheme of the act, the purpose of the act, it will be ultimately not levied. This is also one very interesting thing because it says that the designated authority shall not institute any proceeding or shall not impose any penalty. Now, in all probability, the penalty will be levied by the AO, not the designated authority, meaning CIT. So, do I get the immunity? Can the if you read too much into it, can you say that no, that prohibition is for the CIT? कल को AO ने लगा दिया तो मेरे पे prohibition नहीं है. Can it be said? I would feel no. Of course, on the face of it, the way it is worded, it is having some possibility where the department can do some mischief. But considering the overall scheme of the act, the object of the scheme, etc., I would feel that there cannot be any such situation because what the master cannot do, the servant certainly cannot do, right? And therefore, in such a situation, I would feel if at all some officer does this type of nonsense, I think the court will come down heavily on him. Maybe personal some penalty might also be levied and all those things will happen. But in all probability, it will not happen. Let us hope that they don't come out with this type of mischief. Otherwise, one more area of litigation. Of course, we are told that this amount paid is certainly not refundable under any circumstance. Section 94(1) very clearly says that if amount paid under 91 is not refundable under any circumstance. After making the payment, tomorrow there is a Supreme Court decision. I settle today. I go for the scheme. Tomorrow, a favorable order comes from Supreme Court in which it is in my favor. I should not be allowed, I am not allowed rather, to turn back and say that look here, I don't want to take participation in this scheme now. Your आपका certificate वापस, मुझे मेरा पैसा वापस दे दो. आपका certificate नहीं चाहिए, देखे जाओ सर. अब मेरे पास ताकत आ गई. Right? Supreme Court की ताकत आ गई. मुझे मेरे normal appeal में चलने दो, ये ले लो और मेरा refund दे दो. Not possible. This is one way scheme. एक बार दे दिया, खलास, बोल लो. It is settlement. You cannot seek refund. Right? At the same time, they are also saying 94(2), and that is where, sir, your answer is that if the amount of already paid under Income Tax Act, it is absolutely possible. See, when the appeal is pending before tribunal, they recover 100%. When the appeal is pending before CIT appeal, normally they recover 20% at least. Of course, those are subject to various other litigation. We are not onto that today. But if at all they have recovered, say, when I am before tribunal and they have recovered 100% from me of the entire demand, that demand will also consist of interest, that demand will consist of tax and interest, both surcharge, tax, interest, everything. Now I am going into the scheme and therefore the payment which I have already made is on a higher side. Can I seek a refund? 94(2) say yes, you can certainly seek a refund, you will get a refund. So 94(1) does not come into way when it is such type of situation. 94(2) allows you to get the refund, but they are very categorically saying in the same breath that you will not get the interest under 244A. वो भूल जाना पड़ेगा, right? Of course, this was under VSP 2020. Some circular was there, which said that payment made earlier against the disputed demand to be adjusted while computing the liability. So, if it is not a situation of refund, but a situation where I have made some payment, or under dispute, I made some payment, my appeal is pending before tribunal, I have made some payment on account, and when I am going into VSV, question number 26 and 29 of the 2020 circular said, yes, you have to adjust that and only the balance you have to pay. Absolutely fair, nothing much to worry about. Similar reference is not there in today's FAQ 24 May, but I think the broad principle would still prevail and you will have to go in this same fashion. We were talking about refund not coming to you. We will also see in subsequent slides some of the situations where your declaration is liable to be rejected. Now, in such a situation, what will be the position? Suppose because of some other reason, for whatever technical reasons, my declaration gets rejected and I have made the payment. After making my payment of VSB tax, they are saying that no, because we have found now that there is some difficulty. In your case, we are not going to give you the final certificate, certificate number 5, which was there under 20 scheme. This time I think it will be certificate number 2. What will be the position? Ultimate rejection, what will it lead to? There, certainly under 94(1), I will not be allowed to get the refund. 94(1) is very categorical, very clear. I will not be allowed to seek a refund. But there is certainly unjust enrichment on the part of the Crown. Crown cannot make itself richer at the cost of the public, and therefore, in such a situation, I would feel the courts will come to your rescue. They will come to a situation where they will say that yes, though you will not be able to get refund under the VSV, under the payment which you made will be allowed to be set off against your normal tax liability in future. And under, I think, VSB 2020, there are some decisions to that effect. I was trying to search in last 2 days, but I could not because I had some difficulty. Personal work also was there. So I could not find my decisions on this, but I'm certainly sure there are some decisions to this effect under VSB 2020, where it has been taken a view by the courts that in such a situation, though 2020 scheme also said no refund, they have allowed the adjustment of that tax against your normal tax liability. So such situation, if it arises, you can certainly fall back on those decisions and take benefit of that. If I get those decisions in next couple of days, I'll share it with the conveners. Restriction on benefit. So when I'm saying that what benefit I get, also at the same time, you have to appreciate that there will be some restrictive benefits. It says very clearly, section 95 of the Act very clearly says that no benefit other than expressly stated in the scheme and in any proceeding other than those in relation to which declaration has been made. So for example, say for example, in one of my case, say for 68 edition or maybe undisclosed sales, right? Year 1, there is undisclosed sales. It is dispute is pending. I am going under the scheme. I am making the payment of tax. Year 2, there is a wedding in my family. I have spent 50 crore, but my undisclosed sale was 100 crore. Now, can I say that I have paid tax on 100 crore? Year 2, my 50 crore rupees expense on wedding I have spent, and that amount is undisclosed addition, undisclosed expenditure you made the addition. Can I say that this is a telescoping? उसी 100 crore में से 50 crore खर्चा किया है. Can I do that? Right? That benefit is not available. That type of benefit is not available under the scheme. In such a situation, friends, it will be more appropriate for one to contend under the normal provisions. Because under the normal provisions, we have seen that telescoping benefit is always given by the tribunals, if not by the CITAP. Tribunals and high courts will rule in favor. Telescoping benefits will come to your rescue if these are the facts. But in scheme, forget it. In scheme, you don't get this. Right? Some prohibitions. So these are the cases where there is absolutely no entry to this type of appeals. And what are those appeals? Appeals for search assessments. Now, this is a big impediment in my view against the scheme being successful. Now, in 2020, we were having a situation where up to 5 crore rupees of tax, they were permitting us to go under VSB. And thereafter, there was one circular which said that this 5 crore is for each year and not the block of the year. So those 6 years was leading up to 30 crore, something like that. Now here we are very categorically told that you will not be allowed to participate in the scheme if your appeal is against an order which is in pursuance of 153A, 153C, 133A, etc. Some sections are mentioned. Okay. The worst part is that even those cases where 153C is also mentioned, one of the section mentioned is 153C also, and therefore there is a search at somebody else's place, right? And I am the sufferer on account of some document being found, my document found at his premises. Even in my case, I will not be allowed to go under this. So there is a builder who is searched. On my diary मिला है बड़ा सा, उसमें मेरा भी नाम आया है, and there is an appeal pending. I will not be able to take benefit of VSB. Right? So this should have been left open according to me, because search assessments leads to lot of tax disputes. All of us have seen in our life that maximum tax disputes arise out of such assessments. And therefore, if they wanted the scheme to take off, they should have allowed this. Last time they allowed, this time I don't know what prevailed in their mind, what is the reason. They have categorically said And this is a specific section in section 96, subsection 1, clause 1 rather, which they are saying that such assessment will not be permitted. Appeals relating to assessment year where prosecution has been instituted on or before the date of declaration. Now, please note the difference here. It is not on or before the specified date. It is before on or before the date of declaration. So if there is a prosecution instituted in your case, you cannot participate for that year under the scheme. It is about the date of declaration, and therefore the prosecution may be launched today. If it is instituted today, you are just thinking whether to go for VSV or not. In the meantime, prosecution gets launched. It is not having the relevance with 24th of July. It is having relevance with today. That will itself put a brake on your proposal to go for VSV. So if at all such cases are there, sooner you file the VSV declaration, better for you, so that this type of situation does not come and you are not prohibited entering the scheme. Of course, here also one needs to appreciate that prosecution is launched for various points, right? There may be a prosecution for non-payment of tax. It is not having any connection with undisclosed income, sorry. It is not having any connection with income. Despite of that, just because of non-payment of tax, I am running short of money, I am having liquidity issues, I have not made the payment of tax, and therefore prosecution is launched in my case for non-payment of tax. In such a situation also, just because for that particular year prosecution has been launched, the offense is not having any connection with your additions which are under appeal. Even then, they are saying it will not be available. This is verbatim copied from 2020 scheme, but they have not appreciated one fact that in between there was one decision of Bombay High Court in this Pragati's case, where the Bombay High Court took a very categorical view. It was under VSP 2020. This scheme was, Pragati was wanting to make a declaration on VSP 2020. The scheme did not permit that. The Bombay High Court said, look here, it is for non-payment of tax. It is not having any relevance with your addition which you made. And therefore, there is nothing wrong in this person coming under VSP, permit them. The Bombay High Court said so in VSP 2020's case, which is reported 155 taxman, 281, taxman.com, Bombay High Court. The department carried the matter to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in SLP dismissal, by way of a speaking order, the Supreme Court in 165 taxman said that we agree with the view of the Bombay High Court. There is no reason for us to interfere. So this is a settled proposition now. The order of the Supreme Court is a speaking order, right? We are aware that wherever there is a Supreme Court order which is a speaking order, it is the view of the Supreme Court. It is not one-line dismissal. And therefore, this is a Supreme Court view. Now, therefore, in such a situation, in today's time when you are having this decision on your hand, they should have allowed this type of situation where prosecution is launched for non-additional issues, so as I would loosely call it. Issues which are having some connection with the additions or issues which are having no connection with the addition. TDS defaults, for example, right? They should have allowed, they are very categorically saying not allowed. Appeals related to undisclosed income from a source outside India and undisclosed assets, and also 90 and 90A where information are received, they are prohibited. The relevances on institution of prosecution and not initiation. So the prosecution initiation is done, but institution is pending in the magistrate court. The CID has issued the initiation of prosecution, but summons has not been issued in the magistrate court. Court proceedings are pending. You can go for it, but you will have to first go for a compounding of offense, and then you can go for the scheme. This was, of course, question number 22 of VSB 2020. I think the same position should prevail today also. What will be a situation where prosecution is quashed by the higher authorities? Prosecution was launched, higher authorities quashed it. Period of filing by the department is also over. In such a situation, question number 67 of the 20 circular said you will be allowed to participate. Prosecution institute for TDS default in 20 scheme also they said you will not be allowed to participate even if the prosecution is for the TDS default. So it seems to be very harsh, but anyway, that is what it is. Declaration not possible even for any issue for the same assessment year. Say, for example, there are 3 issues in my addition. One of them is led to prosecution. The other 2 are not led to prosecution. Can I go for this one for VSB declaration for the other 2? The answer is again no, because there is no mechanism of making issue as declaration. So there is also one question which people ask सर 5 इश्यू मेरे हैं, उसमें से मेरे 3 तो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है. Why do I settle? Can I not go for 2? So the answer is no. You have to decide everything. You cannot choose, pick and choose. You cannot have 2 going for VSV, 3 continuing in appeal. No, such things are not on. Either take all 5 or leave all 5. It is like that. Right? Therefore, there is no mechanism. Prosecution launched for 1 year, but declaration for another year is possible, even if the issue is same. Say, for example, undisclosed sales. And prosecution is launched in year 1 against me. For year 1, I cannot go under VSV. But same issue in year 2, again, prosecution is launched, not launched for year 2. As of now, I can go under the VSV and settle under VSV for that. So better to identify those cases, and make the declaration, because those are the cases where you are more afraid of prosecution. Tomorrow it will be launched. So why not to go for the VSV now? That is better actually. And the best part is this prosecution, of course, immunity will be given to the partners, directors, etc. also, because when the company or the firm makes a declaration under VSV, the designated officer or the partner or whoever maybe will also get the immunity. That is what the present circular says also, the earlier circular also said, so there is no difficulty. So we have seen some of the appeals which are not allowed to participate. Now we will see some of the persons who are not allowed to participate, and therefore these are the persons to whom this is not allowed. D holds the year, D holds the appeal. These are the persons. These persons are strictly not allowed, simple. And those are the persons in whose case Pofe Posa is made, so fine. With some exceptions, of course, I think more or less it is not much relevance. Therefore, you may refer to, if you want, in section 96. Cases where prosecution has been instituted before filing the declaration in following acts. These are the acts under which the prosecution is launched. And in 2020 also, as well as this time, in both this, the first 2, they are saying that if the prosecution is launched only by an income tax authority. So tomorrow I might have done a murder. Okay, I have done a murder. And it is not an income tax authority who has instituted prosecution against me. I can still participate. But if I have done tedious default, I cannot. Right? A murderer can participate. No difficult. They are saying, now they are referring to Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita 2023, of course, now that it is in place. So if the prosecution is initiated by an income tax authority, only insofar as these first 2, the red bullet points, are concerned, if it is instituted by income tax authority, then and only then, not all, right? If their income tax authority has done that, then I cannot participate in the scheme. Others are, of course, normal. Others may authority so you cannot participate, because they are more severe offense like Prevention Act, Drugs Act, etc., Prevention of Corruption Act, money laundering, all those things. Now, Benami property, of course, requires special reference, because Benami property nowadays is being invoked very often. So if all those cases are there, it will not be possible for you to travel to the VSV scheme. One question which comes up is this, that they are talking about Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita 2023. What about Indian Penal Code? Now, Indian Penal Code is in cold freeze now. It has gone. And Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita is there. Suppose the offense was done by me in 2019 or 2020, and there is a prosecution launched in Indian Penal Code. Can I participate? The 2020 scheme was mentioning Indian Penal Code. This time the scheme is mentioning Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita only. It does not talk about Indian Penal Code. So technically speaking, very strictly reading, I can still participate if I am suffering. I am under VSV. VSV 20 did not permit, but this scheme will permit me, technically speaking. But if you take the purposive interpretation, I would feel that, at the stage of getting the certificate, it will be a big challenge for you. Normally, they will not allow. I think they should have included that also. So it seems to be a miss out. Maybe they will cover up by way of circular or something. But anyway. Yeah, I'll take maybe 5 minutes more. I'll quickly rush up with the things. So FAQ 20, this is a situation where TDS default and disallowances. I am in appeal because of disallowance, and there's a disallowance on account of TDS default. So what will be the position? It says that where the deductee deposits the tax, where the deductor deposits the tax rather, the deductee will get the credit of that, because till now it was not reflected in 26As. I was not getting my credit of tax, and therefore I was suffering. This is FAQ 20 of the 24 scheme. It says that when the Deductor settles under the scheme. Deductor has denied his liability to deduct TDS and the appeal is going on. Now the deductor settles under the scheme, makes the payment of the tax. The deductor will get the corresponding credit. How it will work on the ground level without the tax credit flowing through 26 AS is a big challenge, right? Because all of us are accustomed with 26 AS and credit available only in 26 AS. If it is not in 26 AS, there are challenges. How it will work, and one deductor may be having 10,000 deductees. How will give the certificate to each of them is a practical question which needs to be answered. Some practical solution will have to be found out. And if at all you are able to find out that type of solution, then yes, the deductee will get the corresponding credit. That is what FAQ 20 says. Similarly, it says that where the deductee makes the payment under the scheme. Now he is not offered, he is not paid tax on that because he was having a situation where he was supposed to get tax credit. Now, because for some reason, the deductee makes the payment, the deductee settles under the scheme, the deductor will no more be considered as assessing default following 2011. We are aware of that. But 2011 says that till the time my recipient of the income makes the payment of the tax, I am assessing default. After that, I am not. And of course, interest will have to be paid under 2011A accordingly. But the payment by deductor will also give me the benefit as a deductor. I will no more be an assessing default. My interest will run accordingly up to 2011A will run according to till the date of payment by the deducting. Yeah, consequential relief under 40A and 40A1A will also be available. So for example, my disallowance under 40A has happened. I am saying that I was not required to deduct TDS. Now I settle under VSV, I make the payment of TDS and my disallowance under 40A1 will go away as a natural consequences. But if it is already given benefit in the subsequent year for whatever reason, I have made the payment then, my 201 dispute is still continuing. Now I again make the payment under VSV. Then that is an extra payment for me. This will not give me the benefit of 40A1 because anyway there is that has been already taken care in the subsequent year. Multiple appeals you can settle. Say for example, one appeal pending before ITT, the other pending before the CIT for the same year. Yes, you can settle both. There is no difficulty. If you are settling both, you will have to make the total of both and pay that. If you want to settle only one, it is possible because say for example, original assessment took place. I am at tribunal now, and there is a reassessment thereafter, making some further additions. I am at CIT appeal. I want to settle both. I can settle both. If I want to settle one, I can settle one. It is qua appeal, not qua assessment here, and therefore it is possible for you to go and settle whichever appeal you want to settle. Of course, in FAQ 31, they are saying that option available to settle one or both. If both settle, then pay tax for both. That is what they are saying. Contrary to this, there was in VSB 2020, there was one circular 78, question 78 rather, which said that for repeated addition. So in assessment, the addition is made 3 crore. Reassessment took place, that same issue 3 crore became 5 crore. Right? I am in appeal against both. I want to settle. There in that situation, 78 circular, question number 78 said that you have to pay on the higher side and then naturally will be taken care because 3 crore is part of that 5 crore. But in this circular, they are saying that it is qua appeal and therefore you have to pay tax for both. To my mind, again, this is incorrect. The 78 was a better way of looking at the things. That will say that for repeated addition on the same issue, you pay tax only once. Today's circular does not have an answer directly in this situation, but I think some recourse to question number 78 will help us in if the situation is same. If the situation is different, the addition is on different issue, then yes, I would agree. Both will be added and both will have to be settled separately. But for the same issue, there is no answer as of now in the 24 circular, but 78 circular, 2020 circular should come to our rescue and we should be able to. Yes, sir.
Inside this issue, which are our principal commissioner.
Yes.
And these order we cannot go for the appeal.
No, so when you go for the declaration, you'll have to explain to him that this is the issue which is covered in my favor. You want to explain that, see, this is the addition on account of undisclosed sales. Say, for example, I'm taking a loose example. 3 crore was added in the first round of assessment. Second round of assessment took place. That time they got some further information and they further enhanced it to 5 crore. This 5 crore also includes this 3 crore. You will have to demonstrate that to the commissioner. You will have to explain that. It will be a case where it will not be following in a mechanical route. Online application kiya, online certificate aa jayega, aisa nahi hoga. You will have to go and persuade him. allowed to go and persuade the commissioner. Normally, a commissioner level person will understand all these things and should help you. You cannot go for any appeal against him. That is okay. But you can explain him before the certificate is issued to you. And therefore, before that 92-1 certificate is issued to you, in that 15 days, you will have to go and meet the officer and the commissioner, explain your facts properly. Otherwise, there can be some challenges. The other option is available to you, if at all you don't want to do it, that if he's not able to understand, if he's not steadfast in his approach, he's not moving at all, then the other option is to forget about them, not make the payment, which will your appeal will get revived, and you follow the normal procedure. So instead of Vivad se Vishwas, you have Vivad pe Vishwas and continue. Right. Most of the time we all have Vivad pe Vishwas also, at times. Because Vivad se Vishwas होगा कि नहीं पता नहीं पड़ेगा, Vivad पे तो विश्वास होता है अपना. Yes. So multiple appeals, assessee by one appeal by the assessee, other by the department. Can anyone be settled? Yes, it can be settled, and you can continue with the other. Yes, you can do that. VSP 2020, we had got a reply, but no reply now. But I think on the similar lines it will be there. Cross objections can be settled if you also settle the main appeal. That is what the circular number, question number 60 of 20 circular said. Few further relevant points. Say for example, there is a substantive addition, there is a protective addition. You all are aware of this, right? What is a protective addition? Say for example, in a search assessment, some property is found at the premises of in a residence premises. The department is not sure as to whether it should be taxed in Mr. Mehta or Mrs. Mehta or his son or daughter-in-law or daughter. And therefore they make addition in one case primarily. They also make protective assessment in other 3-4 cases. They will say that if Mr. Mehta is subjected to addition, finally addition is upheld by the appellate authorities in the hands of Mr. Mehta, then we will not tax Mrs. Mehta and others. But if not, then we will have the right to tax the others. Because by the time the matter reaches tribunal and decides, it will be argued by Mr. Mehta that this does not belong to me, this belongs to my wife, right? And by that time, the date of passing order in the case of wife is already over, and therefore department will lose from both the counts. To protect such, and therefore that is called protective assessment. To protect such cases, they will make protective addition in the hands of the others also, or maybe customer supplier relationship. वहाँ पे भी ऐसा होता है. Protective addition in one case, substantive addition in another case. They will do that. In such a situation, they are saying, and also it is possible for different years. For example, in my case, I will say this is not my undisclosed stock of today. It was brought forth from earlier year, right? So which is the year of taxability? That is the dispute. They make primary addition in year 1. They also make substantive addition in year 2, 3, 4, whatever it XYZ. Now, in such a situation, FAQ 12 says that any of the two additions can be settled. If you want to settle protective, you can settle protective. If you want to settle substantive, you can settle substantive. And if you do that, the AO will pass the rectification order in respect of the others. The corresponding benefit will be given. So in such a situation, you don't lose on both the counts. It will be one-time settlement for one is to settle, other benefit you will follow automatically. Request for withdrawal of appeal is pending. You can file just a request letter, that is fine. Denial of registration under 12AA is not covered under this scheme actually, right? Very specifically told by FAQ 23. The biggest impediment, as I see, writ against 148A is not covered. So 148A writ petition is not covered. The cases like Rajiv Bansal, the Ashish Agarwal, 148, we have faced a lot of things, and now we are going to enter the third round of litigation. In fact, we had pre-Ashish Agarwal, post-Ashish Agarwal, and pre-Rajiv Bansal. Now we are going to enter post-Rajiv Bansal with a different way in which the Supreme Court says some period will be excluded, some period will not be excluded, compute that, apply that, and God knows what. That 150 odd pages decision of Rajiv Bansal has opened a complete new way of looking at the things. And therefore, we are going to enter a third round of litigation. The best situation, VSB was coming, they should have allowed us. Go under this for once. See, it is a tug of war, right? We were saying it is time bar, they were saying it is not time bar. We were saying hexaware, JO versus faceless. All those disputes could have been resolved if they want us to go under this scheme, if they permit us. But it is not happening, and therefore, we will have to live with that. So that type of Vivad is going to be there, will remain there for I don't know what age is with us. They will remain with us. This is one very important question, and of course, it is a question which has come up from one of the participants in some other studies. Therefore, I added a slide. No gain saying this, but anyway, the person is saying that there is no amount outstanding. Certainly you can. Certainly you can go. He was asking question, and then he was saying, sir, outstanding hai nahi to kaise japo? Please appreciate it is about disputed income, disputed tax. Whether you are disputed, thereafter whether you are paid or not paid is not immaterial. Recovery is a separate proceeding and assessment is a separate proceeding. So therefore, they might have recovered. Amount is not outstanding as on today, but you can go, and that is the purpose of getting the refund there. 87.2 or 87.2, I believe. 94.2, sorry. 94.2 said that you can get the refund. So certainly dispute should be important. If the dispute is pending, you can go. If appeal is pending, whether amount outstanding is not is immaterial. Please don't worry about that part. Set aside appeal was allowed under VSP 2020, but not allowed now. They are very clearly saying. Of course, in 2020 also it was subject to certain conditions, but now it is not allowed. They are saying it is not a. Yes. Similarly, miscellaneous application before tribunal was allowed as a, because they were saying miscellaneous application is also an appeal. That is what they said in 2020 in question number 61. Today they are saying it is not an appeal and therefore not allowed to be settled under VSV. Few hiccups, of course, these are few other areas where I feel that the scheme will be having some difficulties. Today we have lot many cases where there are incorrect demands. Because of the CPC processing, because of the rectification spending, 154 being not taken up at all by the department. We have got 154 subsection 8, which says very clearly that the rectification should be passed within 6 months. How far it is implemented in real life, we know. 6 months, छोड़ो सर, 6 years में नहीं होता है यहाँ पे. आप पागल हो जाओगे, 154 नहीं होता है वहाँ पे, right? So in such a situation, tax amount itself is wrongly computed. You want to settle, how are you going to settle? Because that is going to be a big, stop, a break for the scheme to take off. Quantum appeal and penalty appeal cannot be settled. This is also one of the impediment which I feel you should permit. If I want to contest quantum appeal but settle only penalty appeal, what is wrong in that? Why, I don't know. They are insisting that you go for only quantum appeal settlement, penalty will waive. I want to settle penalty. I am very happy with the quantum for whatever good or bad reason. Permit me. They are not allowing me. So this is one of more hiccup. Addition of unsecured loan, you cannot capitalize, of course, in the subsequent year, right? In the year of settlement, you cannot do that. Issue-wise settlement not permissible, of course, that I mentioned earlier. And this is something where I again have a difference of view with the CBTD's view. They are saying that secondary adjustment under 92C will be made for primary adjustment of TP. So even if you settle your primary adjustment under the VSV, transfer pricing adjustment under VSV, they are saying secondary adjustments will still be made, right? At the same time, we have seen 92.4, the slide which said that it is not an admission on legal position. So when you are saying that it is not an admission on legal position, how far justified you are in not allowing me to, in making that secondary adjustment despite of the fact that I settle primary adjustment. Secondary adjustment will emit from the primary adjustment. If there is no primary adjustment itself, why secondary adjustment should be made? But they are going to not budge on this, I believe. They are going to still make that secondary adjustment, and therefore this is also one difficulty if you are dealing with a transfer pricing case. With that, friends, I think I'll thank you all for a very patient hearing. It was absolutely great talking to you. I'm open for questions. Yes, please. 263 orders and you are in tribunal against that order. Against 263, are you in tribunal? You are in tribunal. So you will have to, you will be allowed to go under VSV. You will have to assume that that 263 application is the final. The order passed by the CIT is the final order. You will not get any relief from the tribunal. That is what you have to assume and compute your tax liability accordingly. Yes. Any other questions I can take? Otherwise, I think thank you so much for a very, very patient hearing. It was great talking to all of you today. May I wish all of you a very, very happy filing of declaration and happy obtaining of certificate. Because the bigger challenges in obtaining certificate, we have seen, and I have also seen in my office, some of the declarations which were made in 2020 scheme, we have received certificate just 1 month back. The final certificate 5 which has come just 1 month back after this 224 scheme was announced. And then they are saying me that why did you not go in the 2020 scheme? God save us all of, the responsibility on their part is almost virtually zero. And they expect all the responsibility from our side. So that is the bigger problem. So therefore, I wish you all happy obtaining the certificate. That is the final certificate. Thank you so much for a very patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ketan bhai. And to give pose a formal vote of thanks, I request our past convener, Sage Shah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, convener, for giving me this opportunity. With the Ketan Bhai's deliberation, definitely all of us has benefited to decide whether we should go for Vivad se Vishwas, yeah, we should do Vivad pe Vishwas, as he rightly pointed out. I, on behalf of JB Nagar Study Circle and on behalf of all of us sitting here, propose a very hearty vote of thanks to Ketan Bhai for giving us. Thank you. Thank you very much.